Okay, let's jump right into this explainer, because today we are unpacking a massive, hidden collision happening literally right under our noses. It's a collision between our global financial system and, well, our actual planetary survival. You know, we usually hear the whole transition to a sustainable society framed as just needing better tech or maybe stronger policies. But today, we're looking at a fascinating thermoeconomic analysis that suggests the challenge goes way, way deeper than that.
It's a crazy mystery when you really stop and think about it. We are spending absolutely billions globally on climate action, right? Setting these massive targets, pushing so hard for green transitions. But what if the very DNA of our money guarantees that we fail? Seriously, what if the actual financial system we use to fund all these green initiatives is exactly what's preventing them from working in the first place? Now, this research frames the climate crisis in a totally different way. It's not just about a lack of political will. According to the data, achieving permanent ecological equilibrium, true net zero emissions and totally sustainable resource use, is a rigid mathematical impossibility within our current debt-based fiat monetary system. Think about that for a second. The laws of our economy and the laws of our universe are fundamentally at war.
Section 1. Money versus true wealth. The ontological divide.
So here is the ultimate showdown. On one side, we've got modern fiat money. It's virtual wealth, governed entirely by the laws of mathematics and legal decree. It can literally grow exponentially and infinitely through compound interest. But on the other side, we have physical wealth, real things like food, fuel, land, and materials. These real assets are completely bound by the laws of thermodynamics. So money can grow infinitely as a concept, but real wealth naturally decays over time in the physical world.
Which brings us to Section 2, the physics of money, energy and thermodynamics.
The absolutely crucial concept here is entropy, which comes straight from the second law of thermodynamics. The basic physical reality is that every single economic action we take extracts from and exploits the environment. Sure, we create local order, like, say, building a shiny new smartphone, but the energy expended to actually make that phone inevitably produces even greater global disorder, and we end up experiencing that systemic disorder as waste, pollution, or climate change.
Furthermore, the first law of thermodynamics tells us point blank, you cannot create something from nothing. Every single economic product requires actual raw materials and actual energy. But our fiat system, it essentially just ignores this. It allows money to be created right out of thin air through bank credit and money multipliers. This creates this massive pool of virtual wealth that is completely decoupled from the physical limitations that govern our actual planet.
Let's move to Section 3, the exponential debt trap, the growth imperative.
Decades ago, Nobel-winning radiochemist Frederick Soddy mapped out this truly terrifying mismatch. He realized that infinite mathematical debt demands the continuous extraction of finite physical wealth. It's a total paradox. Debt grows exponentially through compound interest, while physical wealth inevitably declines through entropy.
To really picture this mismatch, let's look at Soddy's famous analogy. Imagine you borrow money to buy 100 cows at a 5% interest rate. Fast forward 10 years later, and because of compound interest, you now owe the equivalent of 163 cows. Now, the math demands 163 cows, right? But the physical biology of your farm is limited. You can't just magically compound interest a living, breathing animal. You're forced to unnaturally breed more, extracting way more from the land just to service that abstract mathematical debt. And because almost all of our money today is created as debt by private banks, the whole thing acts as a debt monoculture. To pay back the principal plus the interest, borrowers are forced to constantly expand production. This relentlessly funnels capital into short-term exponential resource extraction. We're talking mining, logging, fossil fuels, all just to generate the surplus value needed to prevent a systemic financial collapse. Basically, we have to grow, or the entire financial system dies.
Section 4. The illusion of green growth, the decoupling myth.
Now look at how the financial system directly connects to environmental impact. The top 10% of the global population holds the vast majority of these financial debt claims on real resources, and consequently, they are responsible for more than half of all global CO2 emissions. It's totally linked.
And here's the crazy part. Because fiat money is such an unreliable store of value, individuals and institutions spend massive amounts of resources just hedging against it. Get this, the world spends an estimated extra $12.3 billion annually on private gold acquisition, literally just to hedge against fiat. That is a massive, completely hidden ecological and financial footprint right there.
Looking at a real-world example, Canada aims for clean growth through a sustainable finance taxonomy, yet they remain the worst G7 performer in emissions reductions since 1990. It perfectly highlights the spectacular failure of trying to use a growth-dependent fiat system to solve a problem that was caused by that very same system in the first place. So nations find themselves trapped in this structural bind, a total catch-22. Think about it. Extractive industries like oil and gas are the primary sources of the real wealth that actually backs the fiat currency's value. Governments simply cannot aggressively shut down these extractive industries without risking the total insolvency and collapse of their own monetary systems. They're stuck.
Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, Tethering Money to Reality, Biophysical Solutions.
So, what is the grand conclusion of all this research? Well, to survive, the analysis argues we have to tether money back to reality. And this means a radical systemic shift. We're talking about monetary re-anchoring, transitioning to energy-backed or resource-limited currencies so that our money supply actually reflects physical limits. It also means abolishing the debt growth mandate entirely, moving toward public, debt-free money creation that finally eliminates the need for infinite compound interest.
And a final piece of this puzzle is the creation of common asset trusts. To regulate our physical throughput, we need institutions that act as a physical anchor. These trusts wouldn't care at all about stock prices or market signals. Instead, they would set absolute caps on resource extraction based strictly on the unbreakable laws of ecology and our planetary boundaries.
Ultimately, real wealth comes only from real things and real energy. Any financial system that tries to cheat that fact is mathematically doomed from the start. So the next time you're looking at the digital balance on your banking app, ask yourself, how long can human conventions really keep trying to cheat the unbreakable laws of the universe?